Hello and welcome to Around the Region. I'm your host, Whitney Stinson. On the program tonight, the celebrity pig races were in town this weekend. Around the Region raced, and we'll show you how we did. But first, Wainwright has so many stories to tell, and there's one woman who's trying to get them all out there. We're going to meet her right now on Around the Region. As promised, here with me at the Wainwright Museum is Pearl Ann Gooding. She's a professional storyteller in the town of Wainwright. Thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thanks for having me.
A professional storyteller, that's a pretty cool handle. How does one get to be a professional storyteller?
Well, you do tell stories. Basically, you get recognized by your peers. I'm with the Alberta League Encouraging Storytelling and Storytellers of Canada, and through recognition from my peers over many years of telling publicly, that's basically how you get that.
Now, we heard of you because you were telling stories in the town of Wainwright this past weekend. They had somewhat of a heritage weekend here. Tell me about your role in this past weekend.
It was so much fun. They hired me to do a historic walk of downtown Wainwright, just some of the areas, because of course our entire downtown area has been rebuilt since the Great Fire after 1929.
Right.
So they wanted to go through some of the heritage buildings and to see the reconstruction after the fire of 1929, and of course to talk about the era before and the Great Fire. So I went in character as one of the early school teachers, Miss Lolo Maybe, and we went on a field trip. And so we went around to the downtown area, checking out some of the buildings, hearing some of the stories of the people that lived at the time. And we met two vignettes along the way, two of the early characters. We met the mayor at the time, 1929, Mayor Martin Forrester. And we also met Mrs. W.E. Washburn, who was just the most wonderful, committed, lively character in Wainwright.
That's really cool. So this is sort of a combination between storytelling and acting almost, is that correct?
Well, we're not really acting because you're standing still in one spot and you're just basically relating stories. Maybe more so dramatic storytelling, I guess, just because we are going in character.
Well, why do you think it's important to keep the stories of Wainwright alive?
Well, it just gives one such a sense of pride in their communities. And it's amazing when you look in your backyards and discover that there is so much heritage and so much history that you don't even recognize, and stories that you've heard your entire life, but when somebody else brings them all together and accumulates them and then tells them and then realizing how rich it is. You don't have to travel all the way down to the capitals of Canada or the capitals of the world. In your own backyard is a rich history.
What kind of reactions do you get?
I think that people really enjoy it. Some people come out just for the enjoyment of learning something. Some people like the interaction that's going on. And some people are just history buffs and they just want to know everything there is to know about their community.
What kind of, who are your stories for, I guess? Is it more for the older community? Is it more for children? Where are they geared to?
Do you know, when you're doing historical stories, it is probably the widest genre of people that will come out to it. You have families. Sundays was mainly families. Okay. Saturday was a lot of adults, and right from early adults all the way through. It's not any particular age group, but Sundays there were families that were involved in that.
Now, you also had the graveyard storytelling a few weeks ago, and it actually drummed up a lot of controversy this time. This is an annual thing that you do, correct?
Yes, yeah.
What kind of stories do you tell, and why the graveyard setting, I guess?
Well, there was ghost stories. Fabulous. Just thought the ambiance of telling ghost stories at midnight in a cemetery. How fun can that possibly be? Just going to hear a really chilling and thrilling story that's going to scare you to your bones, but in a safe setting.
Yeah.
Still having that wonderful ambiance of the cemetery behind you. And why there was controversy this year, I don't know. This was the fourth year that I've done a midnight in a cemetery. And this year I just think somebody just felt that perhaps it was disrespectful, even though it was at midnight, so it wasn't really interfering with anyone's grieving, but someone felt it was disrespectful, and then just a group of people kind of got on the bandwagon, and it just blew up to astronomical levels. It was quite a crazy time.
You still were able to put on your show though, correct?
Yes, definitely. It went through town council and they passed it unanimously that it should go on, and it did, and it was very successful. Beautiful night, the nicest night that we've had in all 4 years.
We're going to talk more about this just on the other side of this break.